All right, let's go. All right. Let's talk about Aiden Hill. Backup everywhere he's been. Everywhere he's been a backup. And next year he'll be making about between $4 and $5 million.
Yeah, he's making 2.1 now. Last year of his contract.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Boy, oh boy, he's a backup everywhere he's been.
Isn't that the dream team that you always want to have a goalie that in the finals that's going for his contract for the following year? Like, isn't that what every coach wants?
That's what you love a goaltender that way, but he's coming through like a champ, and he is playing like a champ.
It's funny though. You look at that, and Bobrovsky's playing well, but not quite as well.
Not quite as good
and
as
he's making $10 million, and the other guy's making $2.1 million. So
it's not bad.
That's not bad, but and he gets right into it. You see him whacking guys at the end of the game last night.
Boy, he doesn't fool around. You fool around with him, you're going to get it back. Most goaltenders skate away. Not him though.
He was right in it last night, throwing punches. So you and I, Dad, were talking that Vegas is up 3-1, and the game they lost, it looked like they thought, we don't need to hit anymore.
Yeah, and they picked it up again, and I can hear Cassie. You guys, you think it's going to be easy? You give this team a chance, and they're going to. And boy, that is a tough series. This is the toughest series of all. And nobody cares.
Well, the ratings are up pretty good.
In the States.
Yeah, but that was a good game last night. It was up 3-0, and then they scored. You think, here they come. You think they're going to wrap it up in Vegas on Tuesday?
Oh yeah, they wanted to win at home.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think?
I just have a sneaking suspicion. I think Bobrovsky's going to stand on his head, and they're going to steal. He's going to steal that game.
Ooh, it gets back then. Now it gets dicey. Now they just have to win that game back in Florida.
Yeah.
And then, I'd hate to get into that.
Well, because you kind of went into that situation where L.A., you were up, 3-1 or something like that, and then Butch Goring scored, right?
I'll never forget the Butch Goring. The guy shot from the point and it hit his skates. It's the only time, and I played a long time. Only time I've seen the guys carry a guy off the ice and went off his skate.
Yes, yeah. So you were playing LA in the playoffs, and you were up, and then you thought you were going to wrap it up in Game 5, and then he scored, and you had to fly all the way back to LA.
Yeah. Well, I could go on with that. But I remember went off his skate.
Yeah, remember the song that you were listening in the car?
Oh yeah, by Jigsaw.
Right.
Yeah, big Jigsaw. You're blowing it all aside, and I felt that it was my fault, and it was my fault. I didn't have them prepared. I thought it was all over, and I'm driving home, and this song come on. It was very popular. It was blowing it all sky high. For
telling me a lie.
Yeah. For telling me a lie. Oh, it fell right in.
But why do you have to tell hockey players that are going in the playoffs that
you can tell by the coach?
Yeah, but I just don't understand why they can't get themselves up for their professionals.
No.
What can you say to them to say, this is an important game, guys?
No.
What do you?
They can tell by the. You can tell by the coach. This is a piece of cake. And we thought it was a piece of cake.
Yeah, but you won back in L.A.
Oh, yeah. Someday we must go through that.
And then you flew all the way from L.A., then you flew right to Philly, and you played the next night, you played the Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah.
So they talk about, guys have to rest.
Oh, they're tired.
I mean, you guys, I think you flew 19,000 miles in that series against L.A., and then you went right into Philly.
Yeah, we flew back, and it was a gimme.
And then Montreal played Islanders, and then Toronto.
And Toronto, they can walk.
Yeah.
Sammy Pollock.
Your timing was always wrong.
Yeah, but Sammy Pollock, he used to have that like that. He was the smartest guy ever in hockey, Sammy Pollock.
Dad, we were talking last week about you being on Eddie Shore's team, and you started to tell the story of a guy, Willie Marshall. And on the back of his book, there was a picture of a guy that you could tell a good story about.
Marcel Paillet was his name, and he was really good.
He was the goalie.
He was the goalie, and had Willie scoring on him. And I never forget the story. Eddie Shore come in, and he just screaming. You screaming at some guy, and Marcel Paillet put up his hand. No, that was my fault.
So Shore was blaming a guy for a goal?
Yeah. So then he come the second goal. And no, that was my fault. Yeah, no, nobody ever corrected Eddie. I don't know.
So this is the goalie taking the blame for everything.
Kind of looking like, we're a little afraid. Like, and he said, the third goal was your fault. No. Eddie, that was my fault too. He says, oh, then the whole three of the goals was your fault. He says, yeah, hat trick.
Did you guys laugh?
Yeah, we laughed at that one. And Eddie even kind of smiled at that one. He said, yeah, hat trick. He was a French guy. Hey, boy, was he good.
Yeah.
When I think of him buried in the minors, like with Eddie Shore, jeez.
Was he the goalie that Shore tied the noose?
No, that was George Wood. Tied the rope around his neck and around the crossbar around the top, and so he wouldn't go down. Holy jeez. I mean, the stuff we used to put up with was unbelievable. I honestly, I can tell you this is a true story. First practice at the training camp, I was putting on my gloves. I can hear him hollering at me now, Mr. Cherry! I hadn't even skated yet. And I was his whipping boy, and
I always question is that Daddy, you said he didn't like you, then why did he trade for you?
I don't know. And Floyd Smith went with me too. I guess the Boston Bruins were cleaning out the stuff guys they didn't like. And they didn't like me because they told me not to play baseball, and I played baseball, and I hurt my shoulder.
So Boston sent you there as punishment? Boston sent you there as punishment?
Punishment, jeez. Guys had in their contract, I'm not kidding, guys had in their contract that they can't be sent to Eddie Shore for penance, for being bad. And
so why did Floyd Smith end up going with you?
Well, he didn't have it in his contract. He was only 22 years old. 22 years old. Imagine going to Eddie Shore at 22 years old. God,
there was Mom, first time away from Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and she came from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Was the middle class of America.
She often said that she thought you were going to play your rest of your career in Hershey. She didn't know that you could be traded. So here she is with a brand new baby. And has to leave and go.
Well, Mom said, well, you're not going to go, are you?
Yeah.
She has to say what was I going to do?
Well, she didn't know that this was an option.
And she never complained once. Not once did she ever complain. I don't know. So anyhow, that's how Marcel Paillet, and I remember Marcel Paillet. I don't remember his great saves. I don't remember all the great, how he bailed us out when he played. I remember him saying, yeah, hat trick.
So Cindy and Dad, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Spreads.ca. They're a Canadian-owned online casino and sportsbook, and you sign up now and use the promo GRAPES. They'll match your deposit up to $500. You get 10 spins on the big wheel for some big dough, and your first sports bet, they'll spot you $25. So if you think Vegas is going to win Stanley Cup, and you think you got it,
yeah, you'd get pretty good odds now.
Well, I'm thinking Florida's going to win, so I would get pretty good odds if Florida. I'm going to put a couple of bucks on Florida winning on Tuesday. But Dad, we're going to take some questions from social media, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and every place. And Alan on Facebook says, Don, there was a lot of big hits in the finals.
And
biggies.
If they chucked, he changed on the fly, eh?
Yeah.
And he's coming across, and Eichel takes a look. And there's nobody in center, so he figures he can cut across the blue line. If he doesn't see him at the last minute coming across there.
But you got to admit he got up.
He got up?
Yeah, he didn't lay there.
He just had his breath knocked out of him.
And then the next game, Vegas got Kachuk back.
Yeah.
I think they hurt him because his shoulder looks like he's
Yeah,
hurt.
I don't think he's quite as
He's not quite as
he's not as robust as they say.
Yeah, which as you said too, though, Dad, a lot of times is that players can't play playoff hockey for 80 games.
No, you can't
because
play.
you just get worn down. And I think you look at Florida now; they're getting worn down.
You can't play that way.
But you just say that it's just too much wear and tear.
It's just too wear and tear on you. You'll be done.
So,
anyhow,
Alan on Facebook, he wants to know. He said a lot of big hits in the finals. Who did you hit the hardest in your career, and who hit you the hardest in your career?
let me see. Well, I remember hitting a guy named Bobby Leader, and it was by accident. I like to say what happened was I was going after this one guy to hit this one guy, and he jumped out of the way, and Bobby Leader was coming with the puck behind, and I hit him right on the head. I had to take him out of the game. He was knocked cold, and it was by accident. I'd have to say it was.
Yeah. Like, what, did you shoulder into his head or his chest?
Yeah, my shoulder went right into his head. He came back and played, though. I don't think he was ever quite the same. Bobby Leader, it was his name.
And then who hit you the hardest?
I remember that, who hit me the hardest. And in junior, you could grab the puck and deke and dive, and that was my first year, and I deke and diving up. I was roaring up the ice there 90 miles an hour, and a guy named Hugh Curry hit me. Oh, boy. Knocked me cold. I mean, I was out
You would have only been, 16 years old?
No.
Junior, you said.
No, I was 19 years old. Oh. And I thought I was ready for flying up, and he hit me. Boy, did he hit me. And you know when I come to, I was taking tape off the bottom of my stick. I wouldn't let on. When I came to.
Were you cutting across center, or did you have your head down?
No, I was coming straight up center.
Yeah? Did you have your head down?
I had my head down, and he put my head up pretty fast. That was the last time I ever, with my head down. Boy, did he ever hit me. I was out cold. Out cold.
So then he asked, third question was, what was the hardest hit you think you've seen?
Oh, there's an awful lot of them. I remember this guy, Guy Russo. I think I talked to him. He used to jump up at the last minute. He's just a little guy. And he used to jump at the last minute, and you'd be coming out to hit him because he was a little guy, and he'd catch you right in the head.
Yeah, he did that. They call that the reverse hit now, Cindy, where they kind of jump and spin and hit you with their bum. Because Taychuk does that every once in a while.
He does that. Yeah, he does that once in a while. The hardest hit I ever saw was Benny White. Benny, not Betty. Benny White, and that's what he did. He run out to hit Guy Russo. Anyhow, his eyes. He hit him so hard. I just happened to be looking at his eyes crossed. And honestly, his eyes crossed. That was about the hardest hit I think I've seen.
Who was the guy that you always had a rough game with?
Oh, a guy named Gordy Labossiere. Every time I seen I was in a fight with him or in the corners with him, he was a great big tall guy, and he had big long arms. And boy, oh boy, if you didn't get the first one in, you never got the second one in.
Man, didn't you say that that was one of the times you with Red Armstrong?
Yeah, that was
got into kind of an argument in the dressing room over him.
Yeah, let me see. I gotta think about this. Oh yeah, Darryl Sly got in a fight with him. How Darryl ever got in a fight with him, I don't know. And Darryl swung and missed and hit and got split up. Really split between the eyes and that. And he was cut anyhow. This Labossiere could throw him. And Red Armstrong was giving him a hard time. Hey, Darryl. So I couldn't take it. Darryl's a good friend of mine. I said, well, Red, you're so tough. Why don't you fight him? He didn't fight him.
Okay, Dad, this question is from Jeff on Twitter. Other than Scott Stevens, who was the all-time hardest hitter in the NHL?
Well, I don't know about that, the hardest hitter, but I'll tell you the hardest hit I think I've ever seen was, and the guy come off the bench, was Wendell Clark. And Wendell Clark, what happened was, the guy was picking up the puck on the far side.
In the corner.
In the corner, yeah, he was picking up the puck. And, well, he was up a little bit by the Brunel. He was getting a pretty good run. And Wendell Clark had changed. And on the far side, he had changed. So the goalie never saw him. And I'm not going to mention the goaltender's name. What was his name, Tim?
It was Greg Millen, I think. Greg Millen, so Greg Millen looked. He didn't see Wendell coming because Wendell hadn't come on the ice yet. Oh. And he yelled,
go ahead, wheel.
So the guy thought the coast was clear.
Yeah. And he went behind the net, and Wendell hit him. Holy smoke. So he was never the same after that.
Well, you should, if you haven't seen that, go on YouTube and Google Wendell Clark hit on Bell. And man, like he didn't see Wendell until after he hit him. Like it was just KO.
KO is for sure. I don't think he was ever the same after that.
What do you think Bell said to Millen after?
Yeah, he said, go. Wheel.
So
he was wheeling, so he figured there was nobody there and behind the net.
But after the game, you think Bell would have said to Millen,
I don't know. I never asked. I should have asked.
What the hell are you doing?
I think he's still on television, isn't he?
Greg Millen, if he's off, it was just been a couple of years ago. So
that was the toughest hit I ever seen. I felt sorry for the guy. I really did.
Okay, Dad, this is from Chad and Facebook, and he is starting to coach a AAA team of 13-year-old kids and wants to know what is the most important thing for them to learn at this age.
Well, it's you experience something like this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think because you were going to say, learn how to handle the puck. And you were going to say, in Europe, in Sweden, they don't do anything on the ice with the kids not handling the puck. And
they all have it. They
all have the puck, and they have to move around.
Every skating drill that they do.
Everything.
They always have a puck.
They always have the puck. And I mean, I think the most common yelling from the fans and the coaches in kids minor hockey is pass. It comes from the parents. It comes from the coach. Pass. Puck
can go faster than you can.
Yeah.
That's
and I can remember, and I'll tell tales of being a hockey mom.
Go ahead.
I used to sit beside. This was Tyke. You can't get any younger, 4 or 5 years old, and I used to sit beside Leanne Domi. And she'd be yelling, pass, 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 always to Max. Pass. Finally, I said, Leanne, the only reason you're yelling at Max to pass the puck is you are worried about him being labeled a puck hog.
Gretzky, when he passed the puck, when he
was little, he didn't pass it.
And he didn't pass it at all.
And I said, first of all, who the hell is he going to pass it to? He's faster than anyone out there. And I said, he could go through the whole team at 4 years old, and you're yelling at him to pass. I said, that's the only reason.
No, she doesn't want the rest of the parents to think he's a puck hog.
Well, that's just what I said. I told her, you just don't want him to get the reputation as being a puck hog.
Well, anyhow, Gretzky never used to pass the puck until he had to, and that's the way to do it. And
I remember I won't tell tales, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I was sitting with a father of an NHL player, and I was watching a minor midget game, and he was watching for a while, and then he came over, and because we had known each other, and he goes, I can't believe, he says, how these kids don't handle a puck. He goes, they just don't handle the puck anymore. And you and I watch it. They don't. Well,
that's because they're always yelled at when they're small.
The defensemen don't handle it.
The kids are pretty good, but I just don't understand how they don't handle a puck. When you see a guy handle a puck, he's exceptional. If you're asking me, the best thing the guy can do is naturally skate, is handle a puck. If they can handle a puck, then everybody watches them, and that's the name. That's the name of the game, is handle a puck.
So, Dad, before we wrap it up, we have to. We never mentioned that Canada once again won the World Championship.
Well,
now for the Europeans, this is the biggie, right?
Yeah, this is their Stanley Cup, and this goes back to the 16 Canadians on Vegas, and I'll keep mentioning that. Plus the goaltender, and he's from Vancouver. No, he's not from Vancouver. Comex,
BC.
Comex, BC. Comics. I hope it's not comics. Comics. Is it comic?
Comox.
So we'll say comics. Anyhow,
But the Canadians won. Adam Finelli, who's going to be the second.
and boy, is he good.
Like I got to tell you, he's going to be the second. Well, he better be the second pick in the draft this year after Bedard. And it looked like John Davidson, who has Columbus, they were supposed to get the second pick. So he was all, well, we're not going to get the first pick, but Adam, you could build a team around this kid. And they dropped it. They went down to the third pick. You should have seen the expression on his face, like you got to be kidding me. Like he was stunned. But Adam Finelli, we saw him play, and when he was 14, he got the winner against in the semifinals.
And he can play.
And Canada.
I liked him better than anybody.
Yeah, he was big and he could hit. You think about it, he went down to the States and he played college. He went to play with his brother. He wanted to play college hockey with his brother. He won the Hobie Baker World Juniors and World Championship in the same year.
Wow. He is, where do you see this guy? This guy can play.
Yeah, and Latvia was in the semifinals. They beat the Americans. And
they're catching up. It used to be just Canada and United States and all the time in the finals, all the time. Not anymore.
No, and then they beat and then Germany, and Canada beat Germany in the finals. So,
but nobody plays hockey like Canadians.
No, they were just. And
I don't care what you say. 16 Canadians, including the goaltender,